Two big blockbusters are on the screen. Welcome. Robert Horton writes for the Seattle Weekly, also the Herald in Everett, and he's at the Overlook Podcast. Good to see you.
I'm at the Overlook Podcast with you occasionally.
That's right.
From what I've heard.
And we are often talking about big blockbusters or small films. Two films that are big. Let's start with The Hobbit.
Okay.
How did The Hobbit come across? Hobbit number 3.
This is number 3. This is the third giant film that is made from a relatively slim book, actually.
The Lord of the Rings was three
books, so you could justify, making 3 big movies. But the same director, Peter Jackson, has gone back to the source, to J.R.R. Tolkien, and he's made 3 long movies out of them, and boy, do they feel like long movies.
Oh, they feel long.
My memory of the book, which I thoroughly enjoyed, is that it's a really swift piece of storytelling. You've got your hero, you've got this hobbit by the name of Bilbo Baggins, who's played by Martin Freeman in the film, and he goes on an adventure. And the movies are just sprawling, and there's dozens of characters, I should say thousands of characters, I guess, but dozens of main characters, and I just feel like we've lost the thread of this main interesting guy, Bilbo, and all the energy gets dissipated in a variety of different directions.
We still have Gandalf in there, though.
Gandalf gets in there, yes. Ian McKellen. It's interesting because there are all these callbacks to the Lord of the Rings.
Wait, that's in the future.
It's not just that you have to have seen the 2 films of The Hobbit before you go to see The Hobbit. And believe me, if you have not seen them, you will not know what's going on. It's one of those movies that's just, you're into it, and now we got to keep everybody straight. You also have to know what happened in The Lord of the Rings, which, as you say, is what's going to happen in The Lord of the Rings, because there's all these callbacks and all these references and all these foreshadowings and so on.
Well, you're bumming me.
It's overwhelming, and I don't think it's a movie. I don't think it stands on its own as a movie, unfortunately.
You called it flabby, I believe.
I called it flabby, yes.
That's too bad.
Sorry.
Well, then I can be pretty sure, though, that we had a new superhero movie coming out, though, which is the superhero known as Moses.
Yes.
Christian Bale, Batman, is Moses.
He is an OS, an original superhero, from the good book.
Well, it looks like that in the trailer.
Yeah. Well, if they're trying to hit that note, but at its heart, this is actually just an old biblical picture of the kind that they made back in the 50s and 60s.
In a good way.
Yeah, the inclination is there, in the good way. It's not a modern action film, I guess is what I mean. I wish it were a better movie, unfortunately. It does have kind of an old school director, Ridley Scott.
This is a Ridley Scott movie?
This is a Ridley Scott film.
And it falls on its flabby?
It is also a little bit flabby. No insult to Christian Bale, who plays Moses, or Joel Edgerton, Australian actor who plays Ramses. They're both pretty good, yeah.
I don't know. I saw the trailer, and Christian Bale looked like he was getting ready to part the Red Seas a lot.
Yes, behold his mighty hand, I believe, is what Charlton Heston said. I said in my review that you can measure the difference between the Charlton Heston 10 Commandments and this movie by the length of the beards. Because you think of Charlton Heston, he's got that magnificent flowing chin hair, and I think Christian Bale is like realistic, and it's kind of grubby, and it's what might someone really be wearing back during the Egyptian days. So they're kind of trying to play it real, and I think maybe that's a letdown. I think maybe you should just go big.
Yeah.
Just go with the crazy over the top special effects, of which there are many in this film, admittedly. But there's something kind of dour about it. Ridley Scott, I think, is kind of a grouchy director. You know what I mean? It's like this story, you got to have a certain amount of showbiz pizzazz to put it over, as Cecil B. DeMille did with 10 Commandments, and I don't know, it just doesn't take flight. It's fun to watch I was raised Catholic, so I all the plagues, locusts and frogs, I loved all that stuff when I was a kid, and it still works. But the movie itself, it's kind of a drag.
All right. Well, The Hobbit and Exodus, a plague on both their houses.
Nicely done. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings, but yes, that's the way it is.
That's all right. Thanks a lot.
Good talking to you, Steve.
And you. Thank you.